Oops. Was not meant to be that on, but... Okay. We're still getting a little bit set up here, but I'm going to go ahead and start talking just because it's... I need to get started a little bit earlier since I meant to get this stream going and probably nearly an hour ago at this point, but I'm a little slow this evening due to making dinner and everything. It took a little bit longer, which is okay. It can take longer sometimes, but it means I will go probably a little bit late in the evening tonight to try to get this game all the way through. I guess, presuming, of course, that we don't see some ridiculous combo that wins the game really quickly. And on that note, tonight we are going to be doing Guild Wars. So each of the 4 decks that I'm playing tonight will be one of 10 different guilds of Ravnica. So a guild is a 2-color combination. So green-white, red-black, blue-green, and blue-black are the decks that we're playing tonight. And then a week from today, or maybe next Wednesday, we'll try to do red-white, red-green, blue-white, and blue-red. So that'll make up 8 of the 10 total. And then on the 3rd week, so 2 weeks from now, I will be doing both of the winners of the previous 2 weeks and then the other 2 color combinations that we haven't done. And I've chosen this because the 2 that end up on the 3rd week are actually going to be probably some of the rougher ones, some of the ones that have a little bit more oomph and kick to them. So I didn't want them to just essentially decimate two different games. I wanted to pit them against sort of equally powerful decks in a sense, just based on who wins. So we do have it's not that we don't have good decks in the other 2 groups. It's just that specifically Viral's the Scar Striped, which is black-green, has been known to just sort of win very quickly because it can get really, really good combinations very, very early in the game. So we are trying to avoid seeing too much of a stomping from him and leave him for the last match. But that does mean that we will see Lazav, Dimir Mastermind, Ezuri, Claw of Progress, Rakdos, Rakdos, Lord of Riots, and then the deck that we have right in front of us will be Trostani, Selesnya's Voice, which is actually... well, I guess we'll get to it. We'll talk about it when we get back around to Trostani. With Trostani's first hand, I'm just trying to finish up shuffling here. And then we will probably just immediately get started if we can. Ooh, those are... Okay, well, I guess we'll see how this one goes. I'm not sure that that's a good hand, but it'll be okay, hopefully. It'll depend on what we draw. So, okay, so let's go ahead and start with Lazav Dimir Mastermind as our very first turn of the game. Lazav Dimir Mastermind is a really cool card because his guild, or the blue-black combination, is all about mystery and intrigue, and then using that to control your opponents. So this deck, I've played around with Lazav a lot of times, and it's because Lazav has really interesting abilities. He can turn into anything else that dies. So if that means that it goes into the graveyard because it got put directly from the top of their library into the graveyard, then Lazav can actually become a copy of it. And you can stay a copy of it for as long as you want. And you can keep changing him every time a new creature dies. So presumably you keep trying to kill creatures with him in order to turn him into something really nasty. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And he does that in terms of like the lore behind him, because the Dimir are all about being secretive operators in the background, trying to slowly vie for power over everybody else. So we're going to kind of lean into that a lot. I have had this as just kind of a straight kill everything deck. I've had this as a mill deck. I've had it as a only old cards deck or unused cards deck. But for right now, this is more of meant to be kind of a Lovecraftian build where essentially I tried to play only cards that kind of had hoods on, like creatures that have a hood on them. So they're like sort of this maskless cult that follows Lazav and does some icky things. Now, the starting hand that we have is actually really, really good because we have Orvar the All Form, and he's a creature that makes copy of things that you can. Very good timing on the part of the cuckoo clock there. Orvar makes copies of things you control whenever you target them with a spell. So we're going to try to get him out as soon as we can because we'll use that in combination with this card, Hidden Strings, that can tap or untap 2 different target permanents. So we'll essentially play him and then use Hidden Strings to untap our lands, which will then make copies of those lands. So it's going to be really good really quickly if we can get it out. But let's see what our first card is. Royal Assassin. That's not too bad. We're still kind of on the Orvar plan for now, so we'll go ahead and play an island first and then pass the turn. The next deck that we have is called, what is it? Ezuri Experiences Morph or something like that. I can't remember exactly what I've called it. But the idea behind Ezuri Claw Progress is that whenever you have a weak creature come into play, you get an experience counter. And during your combat, you can basically make a creature gain power and toughness equal to the number of experience counters you get. So we're going to be able to make really big creatures by playing a bunch of small creatures. And the method that we're going to do that with is an ability called Morph, which basically means that instead of playing a card face up, we actually play it face down. So it basically masks the card's identity. And then at any point, we could pay a cost and flip the card over, normally to gain some kind of effect. Like with this one right here, this Hound Shaman. Enoch Survivalist. When it turns face up, it destroys target artifact or enchantment. So we can do a lot with this. We just have to get Ezuri out first, which our plan is going to be pretty much trying to get these wood elves out to give us a 4th land, which will then on turn 4 allow us to play Ezuri. And then from there we'll just start trying to play small creatures and giving them big boosts in power. So our first card is Fathom Mage, which is a really good card to draw. This plays really well with Ezuri's ability, as we'll probably see later. So we'll go ahead and play that forest, and then we will pass to our third deck, which is not my oldest deck, but it's one of my oldest decks. So Lazav, Trostani, and Rakdos are all cards from the second set of Ravnica. They are all 3 of them essentially leaders of their guild, whereas Ezuri isn't actually a leader of the guild per se. He's just the correct color combination for this. Rakdos, of course, is a huge demon that basically he just likes to punish people. He finds great pleasure in hurting everybody that he runs into. So what he's going to do is, this deck is actually a dragon tribal deck. So we're going to be trying to play as many dragons as we can. In fact, we have 3 dragons in our hand right now. And the way this works is that as long as you have Rakdos out and you deal damage to an opponent, oh yeah, and look at that. Such a cool background for this, or sleeve for this Rakdos card. So whenever you deal damage, whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, it costs less to cast your creatures. So essentially what happens is, once we get Rakdos out, we're going to attack with him. We'll deal 6 damage to somebody because we're probably going to deal 6 damage. And this Steel Hellkite is a 6-cost card, but it's all in colorless. So we'll be able to cast this dragon for no mana whatsoever. We'll just put it out into play. It's gonna be wild once we once we're able to do that. Of course, there's a kind of a stipulation. We can't get Rakdos out until we've damaged until opponent has been damaged on the turn that we try to play Rakdos. So we are desperately looking for another land here. We have 3 of the 4 mana that we need, but we definitely need another land. So let's go and play this Spine Rock Knoll, and we will. Oh my gosh, I mean, these are the land that we needed, but we're going to put this Lathless Dragon Queen on the bottom, underneath this this land. Tuck it away for later, so that maybe one day we'll be able to reveal this card and punish people, because of course, like I said, it's all about punishing people, whether they deserve it or not. Okay, so now finally we get back to Trostani, which is the oldest deck that we've had. Out of all of the decks that we own, Trostani is the one that's hung around the longest. It's gotten a lot of facelifts, trying to make it a deck that we actually really enjoy, and it's the deck that my wife plays, so it's kind of, that's sort of helped keep it around. I mean, I like it regardless. It's just that that's kind of also helped keep the deck being played and being put together. It's kind of your basic Trostani deck. It's going to play a lot of different tokens, and it's going to try to make a lot of different creatures, and sometimes make big creatures. Sometimes we'll use that life to do crazy things. In particular, we have basically one of the finisher cards in our hand, Aetherflux Reservoir. So maybe we'll get to see somebody get laser beamed to death with it. For now, we're just hoping to draw something that's not a land. And looky there, that's not a land, so I'm really happy about that. We will play one of the dual lands that we have here, the Savannah. So that's really cool, being able to get to start with an OG dual land. That's how long this deck has been around. Not really. Trostani came out well after Savannah, but we really wanted to soup up this deck, and so I had a Savannah available, and we went ahead and put it in here because, like I say, kind of deserves that distinction of being, you know, like one of the oldest decks that we have, or the oldest deck that we have. So let us move back to, since we've finished our first round of turns. Yes, all the pretties, all of the best pretties for that deck. We are back over to Lazav. So let's see, Grinning Totem, an old card, but a goodie. An oldie, but a goodie. Hopefully, though, we get one more land. That's kind of what we're hoping for. If not, then we will probably use this Notion Rain next turn to try to get the other land that we really are looking for. For now, we'll just pass the turn and pretend like we have something important to play. So with Ezuri just got a really, really good card. A really, really good card here, this Cultivator of Blades. So it's whenever it attacks, each other attacking creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is its power. So essentially we're going to try to, once we get a good number of experience counters, we're going to play this and start putting +1/+1 counters on this guy, which will mean that we get to, whenever he attacks, he's going to make everything else even bigger than it already was. So let's go and play an island. We're still waiting on our 4th land, so probably next turn, even if we draw a land, we'll play Wood Elves that turn to try to get basically to get another forest into play and ramp a little bit. So let's spin around to the Rakdos deck. And Rakdos is going to not draw another land, because of course not. So it is going to, I think we want to play the Swamp. And here's the tricky thing. So we have a ramp card here, and we're absolutely playing it this turn. But the problem is that it only taps for one color of mana, whichever color of mana we choose. And I'm thinking that I think that black, I don't want to choose black, but I'm afraid that we have more red mana in the deck than we do black mana, and we need double black for Rakdos, so we're going to go ahead and choose black for it, and just hope that we, hopefully we draw a mountain next turn. And so that solves all our problems. But otherwise, we're going to play Read the Bones and draw a couple cards and hopefully draw ourselves into another land. And so after we do that, we are going to pass over to Trostani, who draws another land. Not great, but like I said, we did draw a card that we can actually start doing stuff with. So we're going to put this grasslands into play tapped and then pass the turn. So Lazav gets to go, and we get to see hopefully our first actual move here. So that's another land, which is nice. I guess we can go ahead and deal with that. We'll put Reliquary Tower into play. We're going to use this Ghost Quarter next turn, so we're not going to worry about trying to get to play the Notion Rain. What we're going to do instead is we'll hold up a counterspell to stop somebody from doing something, hopefully. It probably will be saved for somebody doing something nasty. Most likely we're going to draw... Oh, that's another land that we needed, but just going to have to wait. We'll go ahead and play the Wood Elves. So here we could counter the Wood Elves, but it's a blue-green deck, mainly the green. So they're going to get the land that they need probably soon if they don't already have it. So trying to get rid of Wood Elves right now is kind of a useless task. So we're going to get ourselves a forest and put it into play. Now, it would have been really useful to have Ezuri out before this, because then we could have searched up Dryad Arbor and put it into play and gotten another experience counter. But for now, we're just going to... Actually, I guess this comes into play untapped. For now, we're just going to put a regular forest into play and call it good, because we do have a number of creatures in hand to make Ezuri work. So now that I said I wouldn't counter Wood Elves, but I would almost absolutely counter Ezuri if it had been possible to play Ezuri this turn. So at least we had the mana for it if we desperately needed to, but thankfully it's just a Wood Elves for now, so we're not too worried. Now that being said, Rakdos definitely could pull a really good card out. If it pulls a land out, we're in probably really good shape. So that might be the best first opportunity to counter something. So it is a land. So we're going to go and play it. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, we really, really needed a mountain instead of a swamp. But we have the swamp. So... we could play a card that will get us into being able to get Rakdos out, but I'm honestly really concerned about getting another red mana. So we're going to actually go ahead and play Read the Bones, which means this is our first time somebody loses life. First blood. So Rakdos is going to lose 2 life after we scry 2 cards. So we're going to look at the top 2. Neither one of these are really ones that we want. Like I said, nothing is more important than a red land at this point. So we're going to put those both on the bottom, draw 2 cards, and still not a red land. So that's really not good news for us. That better be in basically the next card or 2. Because we really don't want to have to start playing these dragons for their actual cost, but we may not have a choice if we keep drawing black mana. Because it's really easy. It's much easier to just overwhelm an opponent by playing multiple dragons in a single turn. So we're going to go over to Trostani. Untap, draw a card. Oh, not a too bad card. Let's see what we want to do. So I think we go ahead and just play a forest. We're going to search for a land with grasslands, and we're going to use that mana to cast Spider Silk Armor. So again, not really a big card to counter with the spell that we have, the spell that Lazav has, because while that card does kind of prevent some of our shenanigans, at some point it probably won't matter. If we get a good upper hand, then the Spider Silk Armor won't matter. So The land that we're going to get is Temple Garden, so we'll go and lose 2 life as well and be down to 38 along with Rakdos to be able to play our card. So Grassland searches for either a forest or a plain, so we could have searched for a bunch of different cards, but it just makes sense to go ahead and get another dual land. Just to solve, because basically now we like have no mana concerns whatsoever. Okay. Untap, or let's see, not untap. We do need to tap is what I mean. We're going to do this. And we need to get out some dice for Trostani to say we are at 38. So Spider Silk Armor, what it does is it gives your creatures +0, +1, and reach. So it makes makes all your creatures able to block flying creatures, and that's kind of a problem with Lazav because there's a lot of flying creatures in the deck. So that's why, but it may not matter ultimately. We draw a card for Lazav. It is another land that we can actually use Lazav for, but for now we're actually just going to, since nobody else is doing anything, we're going to play Orvar, the All form, and make everybody else cry once they realize that we have hidden strings. This is going to be really amazing here shortly. Let's go on to Ezuri, because that's the end of our turn. We're just tapped out with Lazav. So untap, draw a card. It is Duskwatch Recruiter, which is fine. We will put the Evolving Wilds into play. We will pay 4 to play Ezuri, because especially now that everyone's kind of tapped out, this is a really good opportunity to play Ezuri. And then we will find an island with the Evolving Wilds. And probably we can't really attack. I mean, we could attack either of the 2 decks that have lost life now, because Orvar is going to eat the Wood Elves if we try to attack Lazav. But there's really no point in trying to make early enemies of Trostani or Rakdos at this point. We're just gonna hold off. It'll be better for us for now. We don't making enemies too soon. That's never a good sign. I mean, unless you think that you can handle it. Plus, the Wood Elves is only 1 damage, so it's not that much damage. Trostani is going to just gain back that life. Now, that being said, Rakdos, you could make an argument that Rakdos is probably going to lose a bunch of life in the process of trying to do its own thing. So putting a little bit more pressure now might be useful, but really, essentially, we're going to try to play 1 or more creatures next turn and just start kicking people's butt with creatures. So I don't think that 1 damage lost here is that big of a deal. Okay, Rakdos, it's time. Need that second mountain. It better be a mountain. Well, it's not a mountain, but it's a card that can get us stuff. So let's see. Is there anything else that we can play, really? I don't think that there is. So let's just go ahead and pay 2 mana. We'll play the Talisman of Indulgence, which taps for either black or red if we pay a life, or just any color, like a colorless mana if we want. We could play a land here. We have this Bojuka Bog. My only problem is that Bojuka Bog's whole purpose is to exile somebody's graveyard, and that's going to be really handy when we get around to the Lazav deck that might be trying to return crap over and over again. We don't really know, but blue-black colors for returning shit all the time. So let's just pass the turn, and unfortunately we don't have enough mana to play Triskaidekaphobia. So we'll just have to wait until next turn. So now Trostani's turn. Untap, upkeep, draw a card, and Wayfaring Temple. Wow. Okay, that's a card, and we have a ton of options now. We legitimately have like a ton of options that we could do now. I think that it's still smartest to go ahead and play Trostani here. It just makes sense so that we gain the life from all of the other creatures that we will be playing here soon, because most likely what we'll do is next turn we'll play Garuk, and then use Garuk to play Wayfaring Temple. And then after that, once we're able to attack with Wayfaring Temple, we'll play Mouth, and we'll get something to be able to populate with the populate abilities that we have. So let us pass the turn with a 2/6 reach Trostani. Which doesn't really matter once Orvar gets his turn at the table. Untap, draw a card. We get a swamp. That's good. But I think that we... interesting. Yeah, I think we do need to... Do we... No, I guess... Let's see. Actually, I guess we can go and play this land and play tapped. So we will be a little bit higher than everybody else. That won't last too long, but we will be at 41 life because of that land coming into play tapped. We will tap 1, 2 right here. We'll pay 2. We will cast Hidden Strings, targeting a swamp and an island. So we are going to get another swamp and another island. Let's go ahead and do... Actually, do we... Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go and do it that way. So we have another swamp, and we have an untapped island. And then after that happens... Oh, and sorry, we get to... I guess I should have done it... I should have done it like this. Tapped these 2 lands, so they untap both of them. Okay, I'm now remembering how to play this game. We are going to exile Hidden Strings so that it ciphers onto Orvar. Then on our... Let's see. Do you want to do that? I guess we should have done the swamp. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to tap these 4 and go ahead and play Lazav, because it'll be good here soon anyway. We'll go and play Lazav. Then we are going to attack with Orvar at Rakdos, because Rakdos is the only person that has any openings to be able to do stuff. So that will mean that Orvar deals 3 damage to Rakdos, taking it down to 35. And because of that, we get Hidden Strings once again. And we are going to, again, target an island and a swamp, which will make copies of them. Again, this is because of this ability. Whenever an instant or sorcery, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, which these are cast, you cast the copy of the spell that's ciphered on. If it targets one or more other permanents you control, you create a copy of those permanents. So yeah, we get another untapped swamp and untapped island. It's insanity how easy this is. Let's see, I think what we do here is that we're going to tap our other land like this, and we are going to cast Royal Assassin so we can start threatening people. So basically Royal Assassin makes it so that if anybody taps a creature to attack, I can actually tap Royal Assassin to kill it. Which may mean that I make a bunch of Royal Assassins, an army of Royal Assassins, so that if anybody tries to attack, I just kill their creature. This Lazav deck, this is the first time that I've been able to like really get to use Orvar really well. So I'm kind of happy that it's getting a good showing, because essentially the 2 decks in this particular match that are really strong is actually Rakdos and Trostani. They may seem like they're going a little slow, but they have very, very explosive power, and they just turn on a dime and suddenly they've taken over the game. So Ezuri kind of can be explosive as well. The problem is that since so much of its stuff relies on creatures, and you can wrath the board really easily, it can turn against you way too quickly. So let's see. We're going to draw a card. Embodiment of Springs. It's not too bad, but like so we could just build up experience counters slowly, but I think that because of Orvar, our best opportunity right now is to go ahead and tap this, play Cultivator of Blades. When it comes into play, it fabricates, so we can either put 2 counters on it or create 2 servo creatures. So we are going to go ahead and create 2 servos, and we'll go ahead and call them 1/1 servos, but that means that we actually get 3 experience. So we're going to most likely get a ton of experience with Ezuri. Let's see, servo. So that may mean that Cultivator of Blades ends up getting killed at some point, but by the time that it gets killed because of Royal Assassin, we'll have attacked with the creatures that we attack with will have gotten the bonus from Cultivator of Blades. So we're going to go to combat, and then at the beginning of combat, we are going to put 3 +1/+1 counters on a creature. So we're going to put it onto Cultivator of Blades. So now next turn, if we attack with Cultivator of Blades, we'll probably be putting at least another 3 counters on Cultivator of Blades. Most likely more than that, because we have enough cards to do more than that. So that means that when Cultivator of Blades attacks, it's going to give everything probably +7/+7. That's very easy to get very strong very quickly. So Orvar is going to have to do a lot of work to try to stop Ezuri from just killing it for being too threatening. So Rakdos is going to go untap, draw a card. Another swamp. Jeez, holy crap. So we'll play that swamp. We kind of need to just play something. Let's see. So that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're just going to go ahead and play Steel Hellkite. We could play Triskaidekaphobia that we have in our hand, but I think that it's just smarter to go ahead and do this and have a blocker instead of... We'll have a blocker for Orvar, but we'll also... the other good thing is that Steel Hellkite itself can trigger Rakdos next turn, because 2 different opponents don't have a flying creature, so there's a pretty good chance we'll be okay with it. So Trostani's going to go. Trostani's going to untap, draw a card. Got a plains there. That's good. We will play the other dual land that we sort of dual land that we, well, actually, I guess it is a dual land. So it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. We do have a forest and a plains. So we are going to pay 4 mana to play Garuk Wildspeaker. And Garuk is going to use its first ability, putting it up to 4 loyalty, to untap 2 land, which we are then going to immediately tap for Wayfaring Temple. And because we have 2 creatures in play, Wayfaring Temple's power is 2/2. And so therefore we will gain 2 life from Trostani's ability. No, actually 3 life, sorry. 3 life, because Wayfaring Temple gets an extra +1 or +0/+1 from Spider Silk Armor. So hey, that's good. Always appreciative of more life. But that's about all we're going to do. Trostani is kind of a deck that sort of lays back and hides until it can just completely crush somebody. So we're okay with it for now. We'll find a way to deal with Royal Assassin at some point. So Lazav gets to go with just a bucket of land here. This is just an enormous amount of lands. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't do Hidden Strings on like a flying creature and be able to just fly over Ezuri's creatures to be able to use it to, get that Hidden Strings effect. Another land, so we will go ahead and put it into our hand. Oh my gosh, let's see. So, Grinning Totem. Oh boy. Yeah, I think that's what we do. We're going to go ahead and play an island. Then we are going to... Ooh, do we do that? Are we that mean? Are we a big meanie pants? Oh, well, then we're not really stopping them. And we don't know what's underneath there. It could be anything. It could be another land for all we know. Probably not, but it could be another land. Sorry, this Ghost Quarter we could kill the special land that Rakdos has. But it does give them another land in return. And they're still going to be able to play Rakdos even if we destroy, because they'll get a basic land. So I think that's okay that we go ahead and tap this now. So we're going to tap 4 mana to play Grinning Totem. And then after that, we are going to pay 2 more mana to activate Grinning Totem. And what happens here is that this is a pretty old card, but it goes really, really well with Lazav. So we search target opponent's library for any card and exile it. Then they shuffle their library. If we don't play the card by the beginning of our next upkeep, then we put that card into their owner's graveyard. So basically what we're doing now is we're going to pick an opponent that probably has the biggest creature in all of the decks at the table right now. And we're going to put that really big creature into their graveyard and turn Lazav into a really big creature. So I pretty much know, as a matter of fact, that Trostani has the biggest creatures at this table. So we are going to take a quick look and see if we can't find one of those really big creatures that we want Lazav to become a copy of. And that's probably it. That could be it. This is a Desolation Twin 10/10. That could be a good one, but we've already got the card that we're going to pick. We're picking World Spine Worm. So when it's a World Spine Worm is a 15/15 creature with trample, and when it dies, you shuffle it into your... Well, when it dies, you create 3 5/5 worm tokens with trample. And when it's put into the graveyard, you shuffle it from anywhere. You shuffle it into its owner's library. So our next upkeep, Lazav is going to become a huge monster. So, yeah, that's not good for anybody else. That's going to be turning quite terrifying. But so much the better for us. So we're going to leave that right there kind of tapped so we remember. Actually, I guess we could put it on top of our library so we don't forget. Don't forget for next turn. And at this point, we can't really use Orvar to make more lands because we have to deal damage. So the Cipher ability only works when the creature with the Cipher deals combat damage. And unfortunately, Orvar doesn't have it can't attack as if there was nothing blocking it. So we're just going to have to sit on Orvar a little bit longer, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We have so much mana. This is more mana than we could ever need, essentially, for this deck. So we're already way, way ahead at this point. Because, this Ezuri deck that's about to play, it's on land 6. We're way ahead of 6. Okay, untap, draw a card. This is Arcane Denial. That's, I mean, we might want a little bit better, but that's okay. So let's see. Let me think about this. I think we do want to try to get ourselves into more land. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap 1. We're going to play Embodiment of Spring and put ourselves into 4 experience counters. And then we're going to play Thelonite Hermit face down so that next turn we can get a ton of experience counters. So we're playing that face down, and what that means is that this is now counting as a 2/2 creature, which comes under Ezuri's ability, which means that we get another experience counter. Now we're going to go to combat, and Cultivator of Blades is going to get 5 more +1/+1 counters, putting it at 8. So now whenever it attacks, it's going to cause everything else to get +9/+9. And I'm kind of halfway wondering if maybe we attack now. I'm thinking that, see, it's kind of problematic. Because if we attack now, we're certainly going to lose Cultivator of Blades from Royal Assassin. Because right now, like, the Lazav deck is kind of the scary one. Since it's about to get a commander with Trample and 15/15, which means it's basically a 2-hit KO for anybody. Because nobody's going to be able to stop it. But if we wait a turn, we're going to get 4 more experience counters from this card morphing face up. Which means that we'll get a ton of more experience counters. Cultivator Blades will be even bigger, and we'll be able to attack with more of our creatures. I don't know. It's kind of a toss up here. That being said, they could kill Ezuri, but I just don't see that happening because Cultivator of Blades is just so good. Oh, I'm not sure. This is a really good question here. Because they may not, like, if we attack, they'll kill Cultivator, then everything else will deal 30 damage total if they don't block with anything. So they almost certainly will block with something. It may be Royal Assassin. Maybe we just force Royal Assassin's hand now, because they probably don't want to lose the Orvar yet. And they're not going to attack with Lazav and risk losing the ability to get World Spine Worm. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and attack. So we're going to declare attackers here. Actually, oh, they have to block. Ooh, sick. Because all of these can attack this turn, which means they all get +9/+9. I mean, the rest of them get +9/+9. So, if they don't block with anything, they're dead this turn. So, I think that Royal Assassin is going to block Ezuri and then tap and kill the Cultivator of Blades. Which is fine. That still puts us in a really precarious problem, though, because we're still taking 30 damage. We'll be down to 11 life. I guess we have to block with Orvar. I don't want to, but I think we have to, and that maybe will get us off of the radar for being attacked and being targeted. I mean, well, I guess not really, because World Spine Worm. So we're going to block another creature, which means we take 20 damage and be down to 21 life, which is a little bit better. Steel Hellkite is still a big problem, but maybe it'll be okay. I don't know. Okay, so now that is resolved. So we are going to pass on to the Rakdos deck and see. Will you please play? Well, all I have is physical cards. I'm sorry. You would have to be able to play on a stream with like through Spell Table or something like that. So, and just for tonight, all I'm doing tonight is doing these cards. So unfortunately, I don't really have time to like pick all of this up and start a new game. So we can try to play another night though, if we have some more people to play with Spell Table, like through Spell Table or something. So Rakdos. Rakdos needs to go. Untap, draw a card. Finally, the land. Oh, do I play Standard? No, not at all. I only play Commander. That's the other problem. I used to play Standard a long time ago. And by long time ago, I mean, if you know the set Shards of Alara, that was when I was playing Standard, was back then. So it's been a long, long time. I think the last Standard set that I played in, I guess would have been Maraudin Besieged. That was, oh man, how long ago was that? Let's see. Let me quickly find out how long ago Maraudin Besieged was. Because it's got to have been quite some time now. No, I don't want to look up cards with Maraudin Besieged. Yeah, 2011. That was the last Standard set I played in. I kind of did Extended, and I kind of did Legacy, and I did some draft stuff after I stopped playing Standard, but yeah. In a Standard deck, for Commander, instead of because like Standard is 60 cards or more, so Commander is exactly 100. If you've never played Commander, so Commander is easily my favorite format here, and that's because it has kind of so much ability to play whatever cards you want. To be able to start out, so you have to have 100 cards exactly. The first thing you do is you choose a legendary creature you want to build around. So in this case, we have 4 different commanders. The one that this deck is playing is Rakdos, Lord of Riots. So my deck has to have only black and red cards in it. And not just black and red cards, but they can't have, like, if I had a card that had like a mana symbol on it, like say this card right here had an ability that was like pay a blue and do this effect. Well, Rakdos actually is disgusted by it. He does not want anything to do with anything that could use blue or green or white. He only tolerates black and red. And then the other rule is for the deck building portion of Commander is that you can only have one of any card in the deck. So this Steel Hellkite, that's the only Steel Hellkite in the entire deck. As opposed to Standard, you could have up to 4 of card, you could have up to 4 of any individual card that you want to. Now, that rule doesn't apply to basic land, which would mean also snow land. You can have any number of snow land in a deck if you want. As long as they say basic on it, basic snow land. Now they have the other snow lands, right? But like the Spine Rock Knoll, this non-basic land card, I can only have one of these Spine Rock Knolls in my deck. So yeah, I really like this format. Let's see, who do we want to attack now? So Ezuri is actually pretty scary. Trostani hasn't been doing anything. I mean, Lazav will be really scary here soon, but I think I want to hit Ezuri for 5 damage here. Let me think. Is that what I want to do? Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to attack Ezuri, or the Ezuri player, for 6 damage in the air. So it's going to go down to 34 life. So in Commander, each player starts with 40 life instead of 20 life. Then with Steel Hellkite's ability, I'm going to pay 0 mana and destroy all the non-land permanents Ezuri controls that have 0 mana cost or less. And that is actually 2 different tokens are going to die because of that. Which is silly, but it's what Steel Hellkite can do. So we're going to take advantage of it. Now, on our second main phase, we are going to pay double black and double red to cast, or to attempt to cast, Rakdos. But in response, I think our trusty Lazav player is going to have something to say about that. So Lazav is going to counterspell the Rakdos card coming out. So let's go ahead and turn all the way around here, and the Lazav player is going to use Psychic Strike to counter target spell. So 1, 2, 3 here. So we have one untapped island left. So counter target spell, and then its controller puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So the 2 cards that we're getting knocked off is Stormbreath Dragon and a Snow-Covered Mountain. That's a interesting thing to lose here. I think, though, even though it has Flying, Haste, and Protection from white, well, I don't know. That actually may be... I would get rid of Rakdos. I mean, I would make Lazav become a copy of Rakdos, but actually the Stormbreath Dragon may be a better choice for now, just because of Trostani's going next and may have a removal spell that's white. So now that we have protection from white, we're actually in a good spot to make sure that we get the Worldspine Worm. So Rakdos is going to go into the command zone from dying. And I think that Rakdos doesn't have any other spells to play at this point, so they're just going to pass the turn, unfortunately, which is what I suspected. So Trostani's turn here is going to go. We're going to untap and draw a card. We get Cathar's Crusade. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a card that exists to make people's lives miserable. Let's play a Plains. We're going to pay 5 mana, and we are going to cast Cathar's Crusade. And then after we do that, we are going to put Garuk up to 5 loyalty to untap 2 lands. We're going to untap Savannah and Temple Garden. And then we're going to pay 3 mana to cast Mouth. So we create a 3/3 green hippo, which I don't know if we actually have a hippo in here. So Trostani played it so long that we have like all of these tokens to go with it now. But I don't think that we actually have the hippo in here. I think we just have a 3/3 beast, which will be good enough. So we don't really have anything that's like necessarily specific to beasts, so we're not going to be too worried about it. I'll go and check if we have a hippo, but I don't really think that we do. There's Eldrazi. Let's see. Hippo. Goats? Nope. Human. Yeah, it would have been before this. Okay, so we're just going to use a regular beast token to do this. Here's our 3/3 beast. And once we get that, we get a +1/+1 counter on each creature because we had a creature enter the battlefield. And we are going to stack it, so we actually get a Cathar's Crusade trigger and we get a Trostani trigger. So first we're going to have Trostani's ability go on the stack. So this creature entered the battlefield. We gain life equal to its toughness. But before that we do that, we get to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. So we're going to do it this way. And that means that we're actually going to gain 4 life from the beast. So we're going to be up to 45. Now the mouth card will go into the graveyard. And we are going to attack. Let's see. I think we're going to attack Rakdos. Poor Rakdos is getting beat on this game, but that's okay. Rakdos deserves it, basically. Rakdos is always mean, so it deserves it, just out of principle. So Wayfaring Temple is going to attack Rakdos for 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. So we're going to put Rakdos down to 31 life. And because we attacked, because we dealt combat damage, we're going to get to populate for free. And when we populate, we're going to make a copy of the beast. So there's our, well, I guess hippo in this case. So this hippo is going to come into play. And again, we're going to stack the triggers so that this beast gets a +1/+1 encounter from Cathar's Crusade. We get 2 other ones on here, on these guys, and then we gain life equal to this guy's toughness, which is 4. So we will be up to 49 life. Right, almost exactly where we want to for our laser beam, our hidden laser beam attack. Oh no, wait. Oh no, it's actually more. We get 2 more because the spider silk armor gives them both +0, +1. I forgot about that. So we're actually at 51 life. This is getting dangerous. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're in the danger zone with Trostani here. Trostani's about to just kill somebody out of nowhere for seemingly no reason. Okay, let's untap. During our upkeep, we have not cast the Worldspine Worm card, so it is going to go into its owner's graveyard, and we are going to make Lazav become a copy of our Worldspine Worm. So actually, let me go ahead and write that, because the actual Worldspine Worm card shovels back into its owner's library after it gets put into the graveyard from everywhere. So now our commander is a 15/15 trample with like several other abilities. Let's see, trample 15/15. There we go. And let's make like a wiggly worm here. Like there we go. We're making an earthworm. And we have like just a little bit more on the end here. There we go. There's our earthworm, right? Very scary worm. Let me go ahead and quickly shuffle this Trostani deck. Since no more Worldspine Worm. And we also now have like a crap ton of untapped mana. So we'll probably use Notion Rain. Well, we still have to draw a card for the turn, so let's go ahead and see what that card is going to be. But now we get to kind of decide whose life we make miserable with Lazav, because now we have an untouchable 15/15 trampler. A land, that's not great. Oh well. Let's go and play one of our lands. Let's do 1, 2, 3 like this. And we'll cast Notion Rain, so we surveil 2. So we get to look at the top 2 cards of our library, and then we can put them into our graveyard or on the top of our library. So, oh, yeah, we're going to keep that on top. So then we will draw 2 cards, and Notion Rain will then deal us 2 damage, and we will be down to 19 life, which is not ideal. But that's okay, because we have some trickery in our hand now. So let's tap 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. No, wait, 3 mana to play Burnished Heart. And we will hold off on activating its ability yet, just in case we need to use it as a blocker. But most likely we have what we need on our hand with Aether Eyes. So I think our... Oh, no. Oh, Trostani could just crush us. But so could Ezuri here shortly. Who's more problematic? Rakdos is certainly not, because he doesn't have much of anything. We kind of killed him by taking him off his Rakdos plan. We set him really far behind, so I think we're okay on him. But Ezuri can just sputter out. Well, Ezuri can only sputter out 1 creature with big power. Burnished Heart can block that. I think we go after Trostani. I think that's my plan. So I'm going to attack Trostani with a 15/15 trample. Let's see here. Yeah, so Trostani 15-15, that's a big deal, but I think we're like actually in range of laser frying somebody, but we can't lose too much life. Interesting. Well, I think we go and block a little bit of it. We'll block 4 of the 15 and take 11. We'll just be down to 40 life, but that also means that we need to pay attention now because we have taken 11 damage from Worldspine Worm. So, Trostani, I need to keep track of commander damage. So, TTV, if you're still paying attention here, so the other thing with commander is that if you take 21 or more damage from another player, from any player's commander, then you lose the game. So it's another way, since commander can play any virtually any card that's ever been printed. There's a lot of capability to basically just gain ridiculous amounts of life. So to kind of combat that, they created a rule that to try to stop games from just devolving into everybody gets infinite life and then nobody ever wins. Commanders, you can basically use your commander to kill people off, regardless of how much life they have. So Trostani is basically one attack away from losing, but essentially that's okay because we're going to try to take care of that by we're going to try to kill off Lazav, basically, or at least be able to put up all of our blockers to kill Lazav in a single block if we need to. But for now, we go to Ezuri. So Ezuri is going to untap, draw a card, and it is an island. So that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and play that island. Then we will pay 5 mana to unmorph this Thelonite Hermit. And once it unmorphs, it creates a number of saprolings. And since we have saproling creatures, or tokens already because of Trostani, let's go ahead and just find them and go ahead and use them. Or at least I think that I did. Did I not? Oh, I guess Trostani doesn't make saprolings anymore. That's interesting. I don't remember that. That's okay. Like I said, we will do... we just have these cards to mark up, so... This saproling here. 1/1. Saproling. And just a little... It's a... Well, I mean, I guess it's not really a plant, but it's kind of a plant thing, so... Maybe we'll just go ahead and make... a flowey here, just a little flowery type thing. Put a little bit of a face on it. Some leaves, right? Flowers have leaves on it. So there we go. Now we have a saproling, but we need a few more of them because we actually got 4 saprolings. So there. Oh wait, I grabbed 5. Okay, we don't need 5. So because we had 4, feed me, Seymour, feed me. Okay, this is like almost legitimately what we're going to do. So we got 4 experience counters, which means we're up to 9 experience counters. We are going to go to combat, and during our combat, we get to put 9 +1/+1 counters on a single creature. Let's say that... I guess Thelonite Hermit, that's what we want. And we're going to go ahead and attack with our Thelonite Hermit over to the Ezuri, or the Lazav player, and they're going to go ahead and conveniently have a creature to block. So Burnished Heart's going to die, which is unfortunate, but we had to do it. It had to be done. And we don't take 10 frickin' damage from from Selenite Hermit. Okay, back to Rakdos. Let's untap, upkeep, draw a card. It is Phyrexian Reclamation. Oh yeah. Let's see. Do we want to Bajuka Bog anybody? I don't think so. I think all we're going to do is we are going to attack with Steel Hellkite again, and I extraordinarily dislike what everybody's doing. So let's see. Everybody, like, I am the lowest man on the totem pole here, but I have to attack somebody because I have to get Rakdos out. So 5 damage. Did I say 4 damage last? I don't know what I said last turn. Uh-oh. That's not good at all. Okay, so I could kill off all the Saprolings. I feel a little bad about that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, but Thank you, Cuckoo Clock. We're like a little offset, so it's like I'm not quite hitting on on the stream time for what the timer or what the Cuckoo Clock is saying. Okay, so let me think about this logically. Trostani has Cathar's Crusade, which is a really dangerous card, plus the ability to play tokens. If we get rid of its tokens, which we could do this turn, that would be okay. We couldn't also kill Garuk, so we would have to do that some other turn, I think. We could attack Lazav for being a jerk and having a 15/15 trampler, because we can't really take it out. Well, actually, we do have enough mana. We could actually take out the Lazav, but he doesn't really have any flying blocking, so he's kind of open as is anyway. It's really, I think, down to Ezuri and Trostani. And Ezuri is getting very frightful over there, and I do not like what it's doing. But is its 1 pump a turn more problematic than Cathar's Crusade? I think Cathar's Crusade in this chance right now may be worse, because if we get rid of the token now, then at least they can't populate. They'd have to waste Garuk, like not use Garuk to get more mana. So that might cripple them, like they might mess up their turn for 1 turn, which might be okay. So let's go and attack Trostani for 5 damage and take him down to 45. And we will pay 0 mana and kill its 1 token, which was a beast that it had. This beast right here. So that beast is dead. So now we can tap 6 mana here to go ahead and recast our Rakdos. And I think the last thing that we do, we use our last bit of mana to play Phyrexian Reclamation because we desperately need it. Like, we can't... But since we used up all of our mana for Rakdos, we can't cast any of the creatures that are in our hand. But Phyrexian Reclamation will let us be able to keep replaying Rakdos from our graveyard, which is a really, really big deal for us. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's what we do. Now, Trostani is very sad because Worldspine Worm is very, very dangerous. So, untap, upkeep, draw a card. If this is a card that gets us a lot of creatures all at once, I will be very happy. And it is not. That's unfortunate. So, let's go ahead and play that card. Let's see. I think that means that we just have to... We have to pay 4 here. We play Forgotten Ancient, which gets us more counters. So this is up to 3. This is up to... Forgotten Ancient gets 1. We minus Garuk 1 to get ourselves another beast. Oh, wait. We gained 5 life from Forgotten Ancient. So that puts us at 40. So then we make another creature with Garuk. which will put a counter on there. This is 4, this is 4. This is 2, and we gain another 5 life, so we will be at 45. Then we will, let's see, we're going to go ahead and tap 3 and tap Trostani here to make another beast token. So we get a beast token here. And that means that we Catharsis Crusade once more. So we gain 5 life, and that's going to be up to 50 life. Let's see, that's 5, and Trostani is 5 as well. Now we're going to attack with Wayfaring Temple against the Lazav deck, which is a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power creature, putting Lazav down to 9 life. And then we get to populate because Wayfaring Temple did damage. So we get another beast, gain another 5 life, 55 life. And pump everything up one more time. 3, 4. Oh, wait. Actually, no, it's not going to do that because we're going to Aetherize. We're going to return Wayfaring Temple back to its owner's hand. So they're not going to get this other beast. This is going to be at 50. This is at 2. And this is at... Wait. This should be at 1. That's at 2. This is at 4. Yes, there we go. I think that should be right. No, wait. These were at 3. Or were they... I think this is actually supposed to be 5. I didn't get around to that yet. Okay. So, sorry. Aetherize is going to return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. So we're attacking Wayfaring Temple to its owner's hand. Which I think puts us in a pretty good position because now they're going to have to essentially block. Like, Trostani's going to have to block with pretty much everything. But Lazav is still kind of in like a really precarious decision because it can still die from everybody else. Lazav not doing too hot. Probably did the wrong move there with getting Worldspine Worm, but that's okay. We take risks and then we live with them and hope that we get the cards that we need to continue. And this was not it. We just got more lands, unfortunately. We made lands and then we got more lands. So, at this point, I think that we just go ahead and attack Trostani again. Because there's nothing we can do to stop Lazav. Like, we can't stop Rakdos, we can't stop Ezuri. Either one of them is going to kill us. And that's just kind of the way that the world turns at this point. But we can put Trostani into a position where it's not going to win. Because it's ahead. Essentially, it's ahead of everybody else at this point. So we're not... Oh, and I guess Forbidden Ancient actually did get a +1/+1 counter from its ability. Because of Aetherize, we cast a spell. Okay. So now that we've actually resolved everything. So, Forgotten Ancient. We have to block pretty much all of the... We have to block a whole lot of the power from Worldspine Worm. So, what's enough that we don't die? And I think that it's we have 5 toughness from one beast and 6 toughness from another. That's 11. Do we block with the 6 power? 9. That puts us 1 away. So I think that just in case there's something else sneaky, I think we block with both our beast tokens and just say, oh well. Just in case because otherwise, if we just block with a 6 power one, then we're at 1 commander damage away from losing, and we don't want that. So we're going to double block, and that means that we block with 11 power. So we only take 4 damage, and that puts us at 15 commander damage from Lazav. And we don't mind that at all. So 4 damage, that's 46 life. That's pretty good. Okay. Sorry, Lazav, you are almost certainly toast now. Especially since Ezuri can just kill you off this turn. Okay. Untap. Upkeep. Draw a card. We are drawing Michaeloth. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Everybody's toast. Everybody's dead. This is chaos. We are paying 5 mana and playing Michaeloth, and we are not... Well, actually, I guess we could... No, we don't devour anything this turn. We're not going to devour anything. But we are going to, during our combat step, we are going to put 9 counters on Michaeloth. And then we're going to attack Lazav with our Thelonite Hermit to go ahead and finish him off. And then we're going to go, almost certainly going to lose these tokens. So let's go ahead and attack 8 damage at Rakdos, because I'm afraid that Steel Hellkite is headed our way. I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't kill the Michaeloth. He arguably could. I guess we'll find out. Forgotten Ancient did get a counter from that, so we'll put a counter on Forgotten Ancient. So Lazav is dead. So Trostani's commander damage does not matter anymore. Let's see. Now, Rakdos is going to go ahead and block one of the tokens, one of the 2/2 tokens, and they're 2/2s because of the Thelonite Hermit gives them all +1/+1. So he's still going to take 6 damage and be down to 25 life. And then one of the Saprolings is going to die, so we're going to set that aside. Let's see now. Okay, so we are ending our turn at this point. Going to pass on to Rakdos. So Rakdos is kind of on the chopping block as well, because it has such low life, like 25 life is much lower than everybody else. But let's see, untap, draw a card. It is Malfegor. Well, that's nifty. Malfegor is really good. And I think that maybe Malfegor is what we're going to do. Ooh. Ooh, spicy. Let's see here. It's unfortunate that we'll discard Bojuka Bog, which probably means that we go ahead and Bojuka Bog now, but let's see. So they have 5 creatures. Trostani has 2. Okay. So here we go. This is where Rakdos is going to shine. Not Michael Ash. Mikolash. Bloodborne. Are we playing Bloodborne now? We're going to attack Trostani with Rakdos, and we're going to attack... Oh no, wait, we can't. Oh no, wait. Well, we can. It's just that I guess we double attack Ezuri because stupid spider silk armor. Mikolash. Mikolash. There you go. That's his name. Mikolash. Okay. So. We deal 11 damage. So that's the first thing that we need to do. We deal 11 damage, putting Ezuri down to 23. Now, let's see what we do. We need the double red, though, so we can't play Lathless. That's unfortunate. That's okay. That's okay. We'll deal with that. That's okay. Okay, so we're going to activate Steel Hellkite's ability to kill things. So we are going to pay 0 mana and destroy every non-land permanent that Ezuri controls with 0 mana cost exactly. So that's all of its tokens. Then we are going to, during our second main, well, I guess this is our second main. So we're going to pay all of this mana here, this 4 mana to, well, 5 creatures. They can't make any more. Does it make any sense not to just play something? I don't know. No, because we need the double red and we don't have anything else that... We need the double red for Malfagor, so we're just going to go ahead and do it this way. Malfagor. So, when Malfagor comes into play, we discard our hand, which seems like it should suck 6 cards, and we don't get anything for it. Oh wait, yes we do. Each opponent sacrifices a creature for each card discarded this way. Oh, what do you say? Everybody loses all of their creatures? Well, that was fun. Ezuri's thinking in his back of his mind when he suddenly has lost everything. And Trostani is definitely behind as well. It's going to have to rebuild. It's lost all of its creatures, got rid of all of its tokens, and now we have a bucket of flying creatures to kill people with. Now, the question is, what do we return? And I think that we return... Well, do we want to draw 7 cards? I think we're okay not drawing 7 cards. We're going to pay 2 mana and 2 life. We'll be down to 23 in order to return Bogard and Hellkite back to our hand. So that's what our hand will be. That's what we'll be able to get back next turn, and we'll be able to just slap it down and hurt somebody really bad with it. And also be able to probably make Lathless next turn. Okay, so let us rotate over to Trostani, who is going to hope that it has a Wrath effect all of a sudden from nowhere. Not a Wrath effect. Okay, so let's go and play that. We definitely need Trostani out, so we're going to go ahead and play Trostani, and when it comes out, it gives itself the +1/+1 counter. Then we are going to uptick the Garuk to untap 2 lands. Then we will tap 2 lands in order to cast Wayfaring Temple, which will do our Cathar's Crusade again, and also gain us 4 life. And that's because plus counter, it starts out as a 2/2 and it gets the Spider Silk Armor. So Trostani is now at 50 life. 50 life. And that will be the end of its turn because it's just, there's nothing else that it can really do. This guy is gone, though. So we're going to go and clean his side up real quick so that he's out of the way and not taking up space anymore. It's just easier to go ahead and clean it up while we get to it. Let's see. So there we go. Poor Lazav. You're a pet deck that I've had for quite some time, and I really love your Lovecraftian style stuff, but unfortunately, you're full of butts. Too many butts to play, apparently. Bye, Lazav. Okay. Ezuri's turn. Ezuri is going to untap. Draw a card. It is Cauldron of Souls. Oh, good. That's actually a good card. It would have been better if it was last turn. I think what we have to do, we have to play Ezuri. We have to get Ezuri out, and we need to start doing stuff again with it. Well, I guess actually... I didn't mean to put it into my hand. We are going to play Fathom Mage? Is that what we do? I think we do Fathom Mage and then have Arcane Denial next turn. So what Fathom Mage is going to do is whenever it gets a +1/+1 counter, we draw a card. And it's a draw a card for every +1/+1 counter. So we're going to get a bunch of cards next turn when we play Ezuri. We'll tap out to play Ezuri and get a bunch of cards and hopefully get ourselves some more land. But we'll have a counter spell in hand handy. Anyway, stupid joke. To be able to hopefully stop anything that the Rakdos deck does. And I think that the Rakdos deck is more concerned about Trostani at this point than Ezuri, because Trostani has the ability to block flying creatures. So we're probably going to do something about them first. So untap, draw a card. It is Siege Dragon. Nice. That's really good. Okay, so let's see here. They have 2 blockers. One of them has 7 toughness. One of them has 4 toughness. So we can't get through Trostani. But we can get through and deal combat damage if we need to. So I think what we do is we do these 2 after Trostani and this guy after... Well, no, these 2 after Garuk. That's who we want to take out. We want to attack Garuk. We want them to either get rid of Wayfaring Temple or get rid of Garuk. And then Rakdos is going to attack Ezuri and deal another 6 damage. So that one is for sure happening, putting them down to 17 life. Okay, so... Oh no, do we want to do that? Oh, that's unfortunate. We won't be able to... No, that's okay. We'll work around it. That's okay. Let's see. So, what is Trostani going to do? That's the big question here. Trostani really wants Garuk, but we would lose Wayfaring Temple to do it. We don't have any token generators in hand. We don't have any other ability to create token generators. We need to draw cards, so we probably need to cast Feed next turn. Let's go ahead and let Garuk die. I think Wayfaring, like, we want Garuk's ability to make tokens, but if we can get even a single token generator, then we'll be able to double populate, essentially. So we're going to go and let it die. We're not going to block with anything. Okay, so second main, we are going to pay 2 mana here. Oh wait, so we can't do Lathless for sure. Okay. So we're going to pay 2 mana, and we're going to cast the Siege Dragon, actually. I guess let's turn it around like this. We're casting Siege Dragon for 2 mana because its cost is reduced by 5 because of Rakdos. Now the question is, does Ezuri want to stop that? And I think that... honestly, it kind of does. It's not necessarily directly now, but like, it's just going to be so... It's going to be... The more we don't counterspell big creatures coming out, the worse it's going to be for us. And we want to make the Rakdos deck use as much of its life as possible with the Phyrexian Reclamation. So we're going to go ahead and counter that. The spell's controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next upkeep, and we draw a card at the beginning of our next upkeep. So yeah, we're going to get rid of that card. I think that... Well, do we really need that right now? Do we really need to do that? No, we don't need to activate Phyrexian Reclamation right now. So we're just going to hold off on that and going to pass the turn. I was thinking Bogar and Hellkite might have been better, but I don't know. It makes more... I think we're just going to wait and see and hope that Trostani doesn't just get a bunch of creatures all at once. Okay, so untap, draw a card. It is Day of Judgment. Ah, perfect. Let's go ahead and pay 4. So let's see what we get with the mouth effect. Or I should say the feed effect. So that gets exiled and we draw a card. Let's see, draw a card for each with each creature with power 3 or greater. So we actually control 2 creatures with power 3 or greater. We draw 2 cards. That's not anything that we wanted to see. We'll play that into play tapped, and right now our only bet, our best bet, is to go ahead and Day of Judgment. And we get rid of our own creatures, which sucks, but we didn't know whether we'd draw that or not, and Rakdos is going to lose out and be a little bit behind. Unfortunately, Ezuri gets hit in that as well, but it's kind of like, what else can we do at this point? We have to stop Rakdos from getting a ton of crap out really quickly. This will only really delay Rakdos like 1 turn. Oh, and we're going to choose to put Rakdos in our graveyard because we'll just put it into our hand. I was moving it to the command zone, but honestly, we just want to go ahead and put it. And I should have attacked. Oh, it's too late now. I put it all away. That's okay. That's my own fault. I should have been paying attention. Okay, Fathom Mage is dead. So we're just going to have to deal with not drawing a bunch of cards. Secret Plans. Face down creatures you control get +0/+1. And whenever we turn something face up, we get to draw a card. Yeah, so we're going to pay 2. We're going to put this face down. We're going to pay 2 more. We're going to play Secret Plans, and then we're going to pay 2 and flip this guy face up to destroy target artifact or enchantment. We're absolutely going to destroy the Phyrexian Reclamation because that's super dangerous. So they're going to use Phyrexian Reclamation twice to bring Rakdos and Steel Hellkite back to their hand and be down to 19 life to do that. And then bye-bye Phyrexian Reclamation. Okay, and because we flipped a card face up, we get to draw a card. Breeding Pool, we will put into play tapped, and now we will pass the turn. So thank goodness we actually managed to draw a land for once. It seems like it's been way too many turns since we drawn a land. Okay, untap, draw a card. It is a swamp because apparently there are no snow-covered mountains in our deck anymore. Let's see. We could do Bogarden Hellkite. I think we just go ahead and do 6 mana here and play Steel Hellkite, which we will use to get out Rakdos next turn. Okay, Trostani's turn. Trostani, though, is the sleeper here, because Trostani hasn't been doing a whole lot, but it still has a really powerful card out, a really powerful card in hand, and 50 life. So all it needs is really, like, to gain a little bit more life, and we will laser gun somebody to death. Emerald Medallion, not a card that does that. Okay, so we want to get out Trostani again. This is the 2nd time, so we have to pay additional mana to do that. I think it's the 2nd time. Yeah, it's the 2nd time. So we're going to play Trostani. It Cathars Crusades itself. And then after that, we don't do anything else because there's nothing else we can do. Ezuri's turn. Ezuri's getting to last a lot longer. So I did a test game with these decks to see if they were somewhat evenly matched. Like, evenly matched enough that it would be okay. And turns out that they weren't too bad, but Ezuri was the one that got a really early lead and started crushing people and got killed off first instead of Lazav. And unfortunately, Lazav was the one that was always just right behind. It just never had enough land to do the things that it needed to do. Dawn Treader Elk. So we want to pay 6, and I think that, yeah, we could leave Breeding Pool untapped. So we're going to pay 6. We're going to play Ezuri, and then our second during combat, we are going to put +1/+1 counters on Anok Survivalist. We're going to put 9 of them because we have 9. We have 9 experience counters, and then we will attack Trostani for 11 damage. So I think Trostani's just not going to block. Or does it? I guess it's going to not block and take 11 damage. So we're out of laser bolt range, unfortunately, and that's that for the turn. So now it is Rakdos' turn. So Rakdos is definitely getting out Rakdos' turn. Let's see. So, oh, there you go. Finally, a freaking mountain. Okay, so mountain. Then we are going to attack with Steel Hellkite. And we are going to 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're going to pay. No, wait. Do we? Yeah, I am still really afraid of Ezuri. I'm afraid because I just don't have any blockers. Like, Trostani has a lot of life, but it would be really easy for Ezuri to just turn around and one-shot me next turn. So I think that I go ahead and play. I go and pay the 4 mana here to bump. No, wait, I guess I only need to pay 2 mana. Yeah, it's... Or wait, let's see. Yeah, okay, there we go. Sorry. If we paid 4 mana, we could pump Steel Hellkite up enough to be able to do Spine Rock Null. But we'll do that. We'll do that next turn. Okay, so Steel Hellkite deals 5 damage to Ezuri, taking it down to 12. And then because we're going to pay 2 mana post-combat to destroy everything Ezuri has that has 2 converted mana cost exactly, which is its creature that was pumped up and the enchantment that was going to draw cards for face-down creatures, turning face up. So we do that, and then that's during our second main. On our second main, we also play Rakdos because that's the cards that we have. So now it is Trostani's turn. Trostani is going to draw Elemental Bond. Yay! A card that we, again, can't... It's like our support cards and nothing else. So let's go ahead and just do what we can to protect Trostani. We're going to pay 4 mana for Aestheticism, so they can't target our creatures. And we will pay 3 more mana to play Elemental Bond, so that when we actually do get... Well, let's see. Let's rewind a second. We are paying 2 for Emerald Medallion. So that allows us to pay 2 for Elemental Bond, and then pay 4 for Aestheticism. So we actually have 1 mana untapped now. Okay, that's good. That's what we want. We just are going to play all of our support cards and then say Toodaloo and hope that we don't just die. Do we attack with... No, we don't attack. That makes no sense. Trostani is too good of a blocker to attack things with. Okay, so let's go back to Ezuri. Ezuri is going to untap, draw a card. Island, that's good. We are going to probably go ahead and play a creature face down. So we are going to play Brute Hatch Nantuku face down, which gives us another experience counter. Then we will pay 5 mana to play Cauldron of Souls, which is a card that allows us to give creatures persist, which means that... Oh, that's not going to be what we could put on there. Persist means that when they die, they come back. If they had no -1/-1 counters, then they come back with a -1/-1 counter. So this is how we're going to protect our lowly creatures. So, oh, yeah, so there you go. We're going to go to combat. We're not going to attack with anything because we don't want to. But just because we go to combat, we are able to put we're able to put 10 +1/+1 counters on our face-down creature, which is definitely nothing scary, obviously. It's face-down creature. Of course it's not scary. There's nothing there. It's just a 2/2. Just a measly 2/2 with no abilities whatsoever. No hidden, secretive abilities that can do scary things. Absolutely not. Untap, upkeep, draw a card. It is a swamp. So... we are going to double attack Trostani. Trostani can't actually kill us in either of our creatures. And this also gives us a chance to maybe see about taking out something of hers with Steel Hellkite and hopefully putting her back in line. So Trostani is going to block one of them. I think it's going to block the... let's see. Who was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite. Okay, so that's good. Trostani is able to block Steel Hellkite and prevent it from just killing things. And tank all of the damage. So Rakdos does get through and puts us down to 33. Oh, and we're supposed to draw cards from... we didn't draw extra cards. Oh well, it's too bad. Arcane Denial is done with. It's forgotten about. Lies and falsehoods, yeah. Okay, so Rakdos. We dealt 6 damage, so we get not Spine Rocknull. Crap. Well, we can still get it, but it's just not as amusing as I wanted it to be. So we were going to do 2, and we will play the Bogarden Hellkite for 2 mana because it's normally 8, but now it's 2 because of Rakdos. So we get to deal 5 damage divided as we choose among any number of creatures and players. We are going to deal 2 damage to Trostani. I'm putting her down to 11, but then the other 3 is going to kill Ezuri to try to stave off some of this ridiculous damage nonsense. And then because of that, we're going to pay a life for Talisman of Indulgence to activate Spine Rock Null and finally play our face down card, which is Lathless Dragon Queen. So Lathless Dragon Queen has whenever a non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 dragon creature token with flying. So that was what we were hoping to do at some point way in the past, and you know, maybe at some point it might have been useful, but I think now it's okay. So we just have a bunch of big flying creatures basically at this point. We're gonna hold that card in our hand because we don't really need to play it. It's not helping us any whatsoever. We needed to draw cards with Arcane Denial, but we were stupid. So oh well. We got to activate it because we dealt 7 damage. That's what Spine Rock Null, we can activate its ability if we've dealt somebody 7 or more damage. Let's see, if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage, not if your opponents were dealt 7 or more damage total. So yeah, that's why we couldn't do it before. But now we have Bogarden Hellkite, we killed Ezuri, and we have Lathless out. So if we do draw any more dragons, we're going to start making dragons like crazy. Hopefully, maybe. So untap, draw a card. It is Mimic Vat, which again is sort of like, okay, that's cute, but it's not helping us if creatures don't die. Untap, we'll make Mimic Vat, and then I think we just hang off on the Aetherflux Reservoir. Just if we watch something die this turn, then we can tap. We can put it under Mimic Vat. We can tap 3 to make Mimic Vat make a creature, and then we can tap 3 more to populate whatever that token is. So yeah, that's it. That's what we do. We just pass the turn, unfortunately. Okay, so it is... Oh, we should have done Cauldron of Souls, actually. Oh, I didn't call it out. That's too bad. That's my own fault. I should pay attention to what cards I have. It's my own punishment. We have so many mistakes now. Just don't pay attention. You didn't see that. I didn't have... I just randomly got Cauldron of Souls. Don't ask anything. You know, like, there's nothing weird about that at all. We do want Ezuri out, so we're going to pay all of her mana to make Ezuri again. Because this means that we get to put 10 more counters on a creature. So now we have a 22/22 creature. Just a tiny 22/22, you know, nothing scary. So we are going to attack with that. Against, who do we want to attack with? Because if we attack Trostani, she's just going to regenerate. It's going to kind of wasted. We don't gain anything, we don't lose anything. So, but then again, if we do, she gets Mimic Vat. And if Rakdos blocks, which they have to, because otherwise they die. Oh, that's tough. But Rakdos is almost certainly going to kill me next turn. Crap, this is the Kingmaker move. Oh no. Okay, because basically, look, if we don't attack Rakdos, they're going to have enough to attack and kill us and attack Trostani. And they're not going to kill Trostani, but they're still going to be able to deal a massive amount of damage to her. And probably put Rakdos in line. And basically hand Trostani to them and the game in general to them on a plate. If we attack Rakdos, then they have to block or they die. So they're going to. But that means that whatever they block with, probably Bogart and Hellkite. Let's see. Yeah, it kind of feels like they block with Bogart and Hellkite, and Bogart and Hellkite goes under the Mimic Vat, which then means that Trostani then just gets to pile 5 damage constantly onto whoever she wants whenever she wants. And that almost certainly means that she'll win the game, because we'll still die from Rakdos the next turn. Oh my gosh, this sucks. If we don't do any attacks, though, does that help us? If we don't do attacks, we still die from Rakdos. all of these options ended us dying. I don't like this. I don't like this game anymore. We could beg for our life. That doesn't ever work. Let me tell you right now. Begging to not get killed rarely works. You will almost certainly lose. Yeah, why not? We're going to attack Rakdos. Screw it. We're going to make everything as painful as possible. And probably just, I don't know. I kind of like seeing Trostani get played. I like playing Trostani, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just let it happen this way. So here's my reasoning. If you're wondering why I'm thinking about doing Bogart and Hellkite, which, like, whenever it comes into play, you deal 5 damage. The difference is because Lathless... Actually, I guess... No, we do block with Lathless. What am I thinking? Yeah, we're going to block with Lathless because then it goes under the Mimic Vat. And its ability won't matter. Yeah, that's what we do. Okay. I'm good with that. I am good with that. Okay. So, Rakdos' turn. Untap. Draw a card. It is Urborg, because another land is exactly what I needed. More lands. Certainly, definitely. Well, we can't really attack Trostani because we'll lose our creature and gain almost nothing. So, yeah, this is totally screwed. We are so dead. I guess this means that maybe we just force Trostani to have to kill Ezuri as well. Is that the play? I guess that's the play. I can't think of anything else to do because... Basically, I'm trying to make a political move. If I attack Trostani, like if I kill Ezuri, then Trostani only has to focus on me and she'll win that fight, almost certainly. But if she has to also deal with Ezuri at the same time, if she has to kill both of them, then maybe that's a better position for us, so that we at least maybe get one more turn before we die. Okay, Trostani goes. Actually, it's the end of Rakdos' turn, or near the end, so we are going to tap 3, tap and Mimic Vat to make a copy of Lathless. And when it comes into play, we are going to do multiple things. We get Elemental Bond to draw a card, we get Cathar's Crusade, and we get Trostani's ability. So we're going to do it so that Trostani's ability activates last. So let's go and do Cathar's Crusade. So we get counters here. Then we draw a card from Elemental Bond. Gifted Estate, it's not too bad. Then we will gain 8 life. Jeez. 8 life. And then we are going to, still at near the end of Rakdos' turn, we're going to pay 3, tap Trostani, and we are going to make a copy of Lathless. So the token copy is going to die. Like, the token copy with Mimic Vat is going to die. But then we are going to get a full copy of Lathless that sticks around sort of permanently. Well, I say sort of permanently. Absolutely permanently. So, there we go. And it's going to come to play. We're going to do the same thing. It's going to get a +1/+1 counter. Trostani's going to get a +1/+1 counter. We're going to draw a card from Elemental Bond and, of course, get Primordial Hydra, because why not? Of course, we're going to get Primordial Hydra. We're going to gain another 8 life, which means that we are at 47 life here. So now we go to our actual turn. So we're going to untap all of this nonsense. Untap, draw a card. It is Yavimaya Elder. Not too shabby. So, let's see. I think it just makes sense here to... Interesting. What do we do here? We tap 3. We tap Mimic Vat to make a copy of Lathless. So that's going to 2, 4, 1, draw a card, gain us. We gain another 8 life from that, which puts us up to 55. And we are going to win this turn, actually. So we're going to play a Forced for the turn. We're going to pay 2 more. We're going to play Yavimaya Elder. So it's not going to trigger Elemental Bond, but it's going to trigger Trostani and Cathar's Crusade. So Trostani's 5, this is at 3, this is at 2. This guy's at 1. And we gain 1, 2, 3 more life. So we are at 58. Then we are going to pay 4 and cast our Aetherflux Reservoir. So we are going to pay 50 life, bringing us down to 8, to Laser Beam. We're going to use Aetherflux Reservoir's ability allows us to deal 50 damage to target creature or player. We're going to deal 50 damage to Rakdos and kill them. Then, because our, let's see, I'm pretty sure it gains haste. So Mimic Vat's token copy of Lathless has haste. So we are going to attack with 2 creatures in the air against Ezuri, dealing them 9 + 8, 17 damage. So that is enough to kill them because we are only at 12 life. Like, all the support cards definitely helped, but Ezuri killing off a creature, they wouldn't have known that we had Aetherflux Reservoir in hand. Wow. I guess it looks like Trostani is going to move forward. Trostani got it at the very end, but I mean, like I said, we kind of analyzed it and it looked like, based on the attack, Trostani was probably going to win. So in a sense, I kind of cheated because I sort of knew that was going to happen. I predicted that was going to happen based on Ezuri's board position. But it's kind of like, what else do we do here? I don't know if there was necessarily a better position to make this turn out more even, where I wasn't basically playing Kingmaker. But the thing is with 3-player games, a lot of times you end up playing Kingmaker, and it's just, there's nothing that you can do to help it. It just kind of happens, unfortunately. And you gotta kind of roll with it, and just hope that the next game that it doesn't happen quite so well, or quite so even, or not evenly. It doesn't happen so kind of lopsidedly when you get to 3 players. But it does help that we had good cards. So I don't know. I'm kind of happy. I think everybody got to do, even Lazav got to do things before he died. So I don't know. I'm kind of pleased with how this turned out. But like I said, it does mean that Trostani is going to move on. Exciting. We're going to get to see Trostani one more time. Before we're going to... we played Trostani in another game not too long ago. So we're going to have to try to... I think we did anyway. I think we played Trostani one other time. So hopefully we don't keep having Trostani over and over again. As much as I do like to play Trostanis. We get to play so many cool cards. Like Primordial Hydra is such a cool card. So it doubles the number of +1/+1 counters on it every turn, every one of your turns, and then it has trample whenever you have 10 or more counters, and it can be so quick to get those 10 counters that you can take over the game with it by itself. And it's just like, how often do you get to play cards like that? How often? I mean, like Aetherflux Reservoir is probably a little too strong for most casual play. Just because it's so good, being able to just kind of deal 50 damage to somebody out of nowhere. If we had gotten a little bit better hand and hadn't lost like so much life earlier on, it could have been a really big problem with this, that we could have just like blown somebody out of the game way too early. Thankfully, Trostani is a little bit slow enough, but Aetherflux Reservoir is a card that you can definitely... it can be too strong in the right deck. So we try not to play Aetherflux Reservoir in too many decks. And in fact, we do have, I think we have one other deck that plays it, and it's one of the decks that could fit for next week in the red-white spot. But I'm going to play one of my favorite decks in that spot instead, just because it's Feather, the Redeemed, I think. And I think it's Redeemed, but it's Feather either way. And Feather is like a deck that can be kind of semi-competitive. And I think it's just a little too strong with its strategy, and it has Aetherflux Reservoir in it, and I don't really want to pull it out because I don't want to neuter the deck too much, because it's already in kind of a color combinations that's it's a little rough, and people can sometimes hate on Feather a little too much, so I don't want to make it too weak so that it just basically never performs. But okay, well, I'm glad we got to play that game. It is another guild week next Wednesday or Thursday, and it's going to be... We're going to play beginner decks next Sunday, so here, not too far away from now, we're going to play some beginner decks. So if you're learning Magic, or if you're learning Commander, definitely join me for that stream, so that we can answer any questions you have. I'll answer questions whenever. If anybody has questions, I'll answer them whenever. But I like dedicating that stream to kind of learning about Magic and learning more of the moves. We go through moves here because I like explaining what I'm doing and the decisions I'm making. But I spend extra time on Sundays. So last week we did a deck building day, and we built I went through the entire process of building a Garuk tribal deck. So you can find that on YouTube if you want. But then we try to do just kind of play beginner decks during that week, and then we'll occasionally do a deck building stream. But for now, thank you all for watching. You can join me again later. I hope you enjoy watching this, and I hope you just are as crazy about Magic as I am. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you soon.